Today we're going to talk about physics. I have here a model of a chair. It's quite a simple chair. I didn't make this model, I actually got it from blendswap.com from a creator called SageFrog. But it's fine, it will demonstrate what we need to demonstrate. Okay, so about physics. What physics actually is. It defines surfaces that are collision surfaces that our avatar can collide on or collide with or bump into or something like that. But before we get into that, it's important to know or to remember one fact. Every mesh model in Second Life has what's called a bounding box, and a bounding box is a box that fits inside or fits outside the extremes of the mesh. So it's the smallest box that your mesh can fit into. We can actually see the bounding box if we come to the object data and we come down to viewport display and we change this from texture to bounds. You see we've now got this box. Okay, so this box is the smallest box that that chair will fit into, and we can see this in Second Life. So let me just bring over Second Life. I've already uploaded this chair, and if you've got your advanced developer menu enabled, you can go to render tests, render metadata and bounding box, and you can see this green box around the chair. You can also see the boxes around all the other meshes around, including the avatar, but you can definitely see this box on this chair, which corresponds to this box here. Another way to see it, let's turn this off. Render metadata, turn off bounding boxes. If we were to edit the chair and we were to stretch, this white box is also the bounding box. So as we stretch a chair, the white box stretches. It's still the smallest box that this chair can fit into. Okay, so that's how we can see a bounding box. Now, why is a bounding box important? Well, Second Life, unless we define a physics mesh, will use that box as the collision surface. So, for example, if I try to walk into that chair, if I get my aim a little bit better, it'll stop me. Okay? Watch what happens. I'll try and get on top of that chair. Hard to do. Okay, doing all kinds of acrobatics here. Let me just do something else to make this easier. Let me just build a cube here. Let me stretch it and flatten it. Okay, for the moment, let me stand on top of the cube. Let's turn off the AO as well. Build myself a little elevator. Hello. Obviously had hold of something else. I'm not having much luck here, am I? Right. Do this in little bits. Okay. Now if I walk on top of the chair, let me get rid of this. I was still kind of standing on it. But the point I was trying to get to was, as I try to walk over the chair, I won't be walking on a seat, I'll be walking above it. Okay? Because what I'll actually be doing is walking on top of the bounding box. This surface up here. So we need to define physics to tell us that turn it off, to tell us that we actually want to walk on this seat surface here rather than up in the air here. I'm sure we've all probably seen this before. Okay, so back to Blender. We see our bounding box here. We can't see the chair. That if we go back into anything else, we see the chair and not the bounding box. Okay, there is a way to actually see both. So let's go back to bounds. And that little trick to see that is actually going to rendered view. Okay, now you can see the chair and the bounding box. Okay, so why a bounding box is important? Well, as we create a physics mesh for this chair, the bounding box of the physics mesh and the bounding box of the chair have to match. Don't have to match millimeter precise, but fairly closely. Because otherwise what will happen is, if your bounding box is smaller, it will stretch in Second Life to the size of the chair. Equally, if it's bigger, it'll shrink to the size of